Dear students, as promised to you, we are back again in front of you with the online counseling class of CPDT program. Today is a session which will be devoted to course 2, that is BES-62, and to discuss about various aspects of BES-62. We have invited one of our eminent academic counselors, Dr. Rita Bhattacharya. She is an empaneled academic counselor for the CPDT program, and she will be speaking to you on this particular topic, that is self-development of teachers. She is, waiting since last 5-6 minutes because many of you have not joined so far. So we are very fortunate that she is there and she will be taking class. Madam, you are welcome to IGNOU. Welcome to this online class.
Thank you, sir.
And we are very much thankful to you that you have kindly consented to take the class for the benefit of the working teachers of Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti. So this is the first batch. For your information, I would like to inform you that this is the first batch. And the list of second batch has already come. In the second batch, we will be having more than 200 learners.
Okay.
So for them also, we have to repeat the classes. And so it will go on till all the teachers of Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti are trained by IGNOU in this CPDT program. So please take over, please initiate the discussion. And in between, all the students are requested to please jot down the important points. And if you want to ask anything at the end of the session, you can ask to the resource person. Thank you, madam. Please take over.
Thank you so much, sir. Is it visible and audible?
Yes. Your picture is quite clear and voice is also quite clear. No
Thank you so much. So a very good evening to the noble professionals, I can say. So teaching is a very noble profession. And we all are there just because of our teachers. But sometimes when we see the development of our students, we forget that we also have some development of our own self. We also need some type of relaxation, some type of reflex actions, some types of games. So there will be more of interaction. It will be easy for you all to get to know. Suppose somewhere you would have come across and you don't know how to come out of it. This session will help you a lot in your development. Well, so this is a second session, as it is told. It is self-development of teachers. Now here we will be going for understanding the self as well as managing the self. So today and tomorrow we will be going for the understanding the self, where we will learn about our interpersonal processes, leadership styles, developing professional values and ethics. And managing the self, we will learn how to manage the conflicts. In every profession, there are conflicts, so we don't know how it is arising, and we need to know how we can take care of it. Managing stress, developing communication skills, and decision making and problem solving. So, this all are known to each and everyone, but if we try to learn more of it, it will be helping us in our profession. Well, in self-development of teachers, what we learn is teaching profession is a very challenging one, where you have devoted your time to learn more. It's really grateful. And here hundreds of students are taken care on socio-economic well-being and academic performance. Now this generation is very difficult to take care of the students. And there are so many issues as a counseling psychologist, as a professional person in a university like VIT, I face many challenges with the students. Now, knowing the self will help you recognize the dysfunctional and unproductive aspects in your life, which includes your interactions with others. Another aspect of self development is your ability to manage the self, you will learn here. The ability to understand and manage the self leads to personal as well as professional development. Yes, when we are in the school, we are very much professional, but sometimes being at home also, we need to take care of the students, those who are weak in our subjects. Now, this course, Self Development of Teachers, is a very good course taken up by IGNO here, and it is designed to enable you to understand and manage the self, this engaging in a meaningful professional life. Now, here, what we understand by our own self. By default, we are leaders because as teachers, you all are leaders in your own position. When you enter the class, you are the leader, and where all the students are your followers. The way you lead the followers, they will be following you accordingly. Now, here we need to understand the dynamics involved in your interpersonal relationships and identify dysfunctional aspects of yourself. So, when we deal with students, that is what where the interpersonal relationship with the students, with the teachers, your colleagues, or your higher authorities. Everywhere we need to know interpersonal relationships taking place, and somewhere any dysfunctional taking place, we need to correct ourselves. In teaching profession, teachers are by default they are the leaders, and basis of power, what type of power each one has, and different leadership styles are discussed to help you identify your own leadership characteristics and work towards improving the effectiveness of your leadership. So there will be some type of assessment which we, if we have time, we will be going through it, and we will know through different examples where do we stand. So in this, as you have come across the block, this block has 3 units. One is interpersonal processes, second is leadership and all the power bases, third is the professional values and ethics. I'm not going through each and every one. So first unit is interpersonal relationships or interpersonal processes. Now, how do we know about the interpersonal processes when our personal processes need to be understood first? So, for that, we need to know our self identity, self awareness. So, whatever the question comes, arises like who am I, or where am I going, everything is connected with one or the other individual. Are you able to think of yourself without referring to others around you? So, if I say, who am I give a name, I give my family. So, where anyhow we are attached to other individuals where we are related to. Do we exist in isolation from others, or do our families, or friends, or colleagues and students form integral parts of who we are? Or are we affected by what others think about us? Nowadays, after COVID, yes, we do to many extreme. Does the perception of others about us change how we view ourselves? That is very much true. We view ourselves in a different form, but when our view or perception takes in terms of others, we give more importance to others also. Now, your answers to these questions, everywhere it is related to somewhere or the other, we are related, or some interpersonal processes takes place among each other. Now, these interpersonal processes include a study of communications and relationship between people. These notes will be helping you out. I have just taken short notes of it. Like here, interpersonal relationship may be verbal or non-verbal exchanges between people, where it helps to understand the impact it is to develop on the relationships. Like a teacher says that a child is very bright, and this is indicated by his marks. So there is a relationship where the child is related to the student. So only the teacher is able to talk about a student where he or she is teaching. Now, sarcastic remarks sometimes it comes out, maybe by the teacher. Haven't you studied? Why did you get low marks? Or why didn't you attend the classes properly? So it comes with the concern. So the relationship, how it is to be built up, we have to go to understand another process called transactional analysis. We need to know the transactional analysis where it will be helping us to know the child's behavior as well as our behavior towards others. Now, this method of transactional analysis was developed by Eric Berne in 1950s, long before, right? Who believed that childhood experiences are the basis for the development of personalities, especially by parenting. There are so many workshops and sessions going on in parenting. But why? Because the students, the children, are not getting proper care. So parenting, there is some issue. I will be coming across many things where the parents also, as a teacher, there are many parents also present over here, which will be helping you all out. Now, the fundamental idea in transactional analysis is to study the interactions between people and identify their patterns. In transaction, there is an communication exchange like transactional stimulus. Suppose I am a person who is talking to someone else, I become the stimulus. Okay, I'm initiating it. A stimulus is a message of communication. The person receiving the stimulus provides a transaction response. So there may be, there may be questions or there may be people saying that what do you mean by transaction analysis and what is the role between the stimulus and response? Stimulus is always the person who starts or initiates, and the person who responds is always the respond part of it. Now, ego. Each one of us have ego of our own. People say that what is ego? In psychology, we see there are ego, superego, and all. Well, not that. Let us take the ego of our own self. Sometimes, as teachers, we behave like children or we behave like adults. And sometimes we behave like parents, and when we are already parents. So, in this, there are three types of ego states. One is child ego, another is parent, another one is adult. So, adult, we can take the case of the senior school students, where what type of behavior do they come across. Now, as far as child ego is concerned, the when adults behave in a manner similar to how they behaved when they were a child, they are in the child ego state. It includes the impulses, desires, wants, and spontaneous feelings of an individual. Like a child is sometimes they're stubborn, you know, the impulsive behavior takes place, they desire, they want so many things. And as teachers, if you start doing it, so it will be accepted by the students easily. So if we start, behaving as the other person, the acceptance is more. In this child ego state, there are two states which is called as adapted child and free child. The adapted child ego state refers to a state in which a person acts in compliance with the demands of the others. The child is already adapted to the environment, and whatever the environment demands, the child will go accordingly. The free child ego state refers to be creative, spontaneous, and playful. They're very free in their state of mind. They're very much natural. They go on without thinking. Whatever comes to them, they act accordingly. Now, in child ego state, sometimes we have to be adapted, sometimes we may be free child. So it takes place on depending on the situation, depending on the environment. So these are two states of child ego state. Now, what about parent ego state? As children grow up, they tend to copy the behavior patterns and responses of their parents and other authorities, like grandparents or teachers. You know, when I was teaching, I remember the students were very much, you know, uh, talking like me, or they wanted to cling with me. Whatever I was saying, they were doing mostly. Whereas if the parent says something, they were not doing. So the parental behavior, if the teacher does, you know, like a parental figure. The children, the students will be adapting very easily. Now, in parent ego state also there are two types of states. One is controlling parent, another one is nurturing parent. The term itself gives you the meaning, right? Now, the controlling parent is also known as the critical parent, very much dominating, disapproving. If the child wants something, now the parent may be in the same mood or different moods. No, you're not getting this, just come off. So, this may be the behavior. They may be aggressive, they may criticize. Come on, you're not able to read this also. And in imitating the critical parent, the person tends to use the voice of authority towards others. The child may learn all these things, and the child may come up in the games or sports or anything. They will start talking like their parents to their own friends. In contrast, nurturing parent responds to a situation by trying to protect the child in a different situation. They're very soft than the critical parent. So when we go with the child ego, there are two ways. The same way in the parent ego, there are two types, like controlling and nurturing. So now we come to the adult ego state. In this, the adult ego state behaves in the present without interference from unconscious processes and desires. This ego state is based on logic and rationality. When ego comes out,
Madam, sorry to interrupt you. The
yes,
slides are not moving.
it's not moving.
So
Is it?
uh, you can you can select the slide and go ahead so that it will move.
Okay, okay. Shall I come back again with the
No,
slide?
no, 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 no. It's all right. Whatever you have spoken, that is all right.
Okay, okay.
But the slide should be shown to the students so that they will make note out of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know why it is not being seen. Uh, okay.
Only one slide is visible. That is BES-62. That
Okay, okay. I'm so
first one.
sorry.
Click on
Okay,
that
okay.
one.
Just
Okay.
go on selecting one by one so that they
Yeah.
will flash.
Next, is it seen? No? No?
No.
No? Okay. So this is BS, the second one, self-development of teachers with understanding self and managing self. No? And then I'll come back again, sir. I'll come back again. I'll come back again. Is it seen now? Is it
Yes,
moving?
yes, yes,
Is it?
yes,
Okay, okay, okay. Thanks for reminding. I didn't know because online, no, it is always like this.
yes, yes.
Okay,
Okay, no issue.
fine. Thank you. So, this all we have come across. This is all interpersonal processes and transactional analysis. So, I was going through the ego states. In ego states, there are three types of ego states, and they are child, parent, and adult. So, in child ego state, we behave like a child, whatever is our age or how much we are matured doesn't matter. So, when adults behave in a manner similar to how they behaved when they were a child, they are in the child ego state. So, it's very easy to remember whatever I am expressing. So, in this child ego states, there are two types of child ego state. One is adopted child and one is free child. Like adopted, they go with the environment. Free child, they're very free and independent to do their own behavior and experiences. Is it seen now? If I turn the slides? Yes? Anyone there?
No,
No,
madam.
madam.
Same slide is seen.
Slide, first slide.
Second slide.
No,
Self
the
development of teachers,
Ah,
understanding the self,
okay,
managing the
okay.
self.
How come whenever I come back with the thing, uh, So when I go with okay, if I don't come up with the like okay, this is where it is getting stuck. Do I have to do anything here?
Madam, please go on selecting one slide after another,
Mm-hmm.
so that once you select one slide, that will be flashed there on the screen.
Okay. So is this
Yes,
seen now?
yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
fine, fine. So this is what self-development of teachers. This is understanding self. I think so. It is moving now. Is it moving now?
Yes, yes, it is moving.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. So I come back again. So this is unit one, where we need to know about our own self before going for interpersonal processes. So who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? It is always related to another person, where another personal and interpersonal processes has to be there. So in order to understand interpersonal processes, we have taken another process like transactional analysis. So transactional analysis is was developed by Eric Berne, and in this, what how it happens is it helps us to come upon the transaction or the communication or the relationship among each other in an analytical viewpoint. And here we have come across three types, I mean two types, stimulus and responses. Both are transaction stimulus, transaction response. The one who initiates is the transaction stimulus, and the one who responds is the transactional response. Now, yeah, I think so. Now it is very much. I am not going with a full screen. It will be going as such. Now, ego states. There are three types of ego states. Again, I repeat. One is child, another parent, another is adult. So, as teachers, how do we behave or how are we supposed to behave? So, when you're dealing with a child, when you deal with the child and you behave accordingly, it will be easy for the child to accept you rather than the parent or the adult. So, it depends upon the situation, about it depends upon the stimulus and response also, then the relationship will go accordingly. Well, in child ego state, we behave like a child, we respond like a child, we talk like a child. And in this, sometimes we are grounded with some of the rules and responsibilities. And that is what we feel that we are adopted child. But sometimes we behave, suppose you are in a classroom. So you are the leader of your own. So there you can be a free child. You freely talk to the students, teach them. It is your atmosphere, right? So then comes the parent ego state. So as children grow up, obviously the children try to copy their parents or copy any of the parental figures, maybe uncle or aunt or anyone they like or dislike. They will be imitating the parental figure accordingly. Mostly it is seen when they are with their friends. And this parental figure or parental ego state is divided into two kinds again. One is controlling parent and one is nurturing parent. So the way we see in the parent, the same way we also do in the teacher side also. Now, in controlling parent, we try to control our children or we can try to control our students. In a classroom, you may be finding there are many type of students. Some people will be sitting quietly and listening to you. Some people will be like, looking outside in a somewhere daydreaming way. Or some people will try to talk to the person who is nearby. Right? So there are different type of students who will be acting in a different ego state. So in parental ego state, it is you who are reacting to the students, whether it is a controlling way or it is a nurturing way, right? So in a controlling way, some teachers like we say that, yes, you please sit quietly, do not disturb the class. Or in a nurturing way, we can just say it in a different way. Are you not able to understand? So it depends upon how we take up. Each ego states are also related to the teacher's ego state, where they also learn where to behave in and what how to behave. And then comes the adult ego state. In adult ego state, we don't come across any subtypes as we see in child, like adopted and free child, in parent, controlling and nurturing parental. But in adult, we feel that we are in the present and we need to understand ourselves better. So in this, what we say, we behave according to the present situation, present circumstances, and this ego state is very much logical, analytical, and with rational figure. They don't jump into the decisions and respond in a calm and collected manner. This is how the adult behavior is supposed to be expected. Now, the person is likely to demonstrate respect for the other person's thoughts and feelings and is willing to negotiate and compromise. As teachers, we also do like that. As any professionals, we need to, compromise or negotiate to some extreme, as it is with the students or our own colleagues or our superiors. Now, this is supposed to represent when a person truly is and the hallmark of healthy interpersonal relations. Now, in interpersonal relations, I repeat again, we come across transactional analysis, which was developed by Eric Berne. And according to Eric Berne, he feels that every personality or behavior or whatever the discipline we come across in the adult or senior adult, it is related to our childhood behavior or childhood experiences. So based on that, he has come across three ego states. One is child, parent, and adult. In child, we come across adopted and free child ego states. In parent, we come across controlling and nurturing parental ego states. In adult ego states, we don't have any subtypes. Well, interaction between the three ego states, how it is going to be interacting. So the interaction patterns between people are based on the ego states. It is true. If you see in a normal way when you are going back to the school or talking to someone, you can just remember which ego state am I now. Okay, it depends upon your close colleague or superior or a senior. It will go according to the ego states that you have come across. One's ego state determines how we receive information from our surroundings, how we perceive, and therefore how we respond to it. Thus, the interaction between two people will be influenced by whether they are in child, adult, or parental ego state. I will be coming across some more examples where it will be very much clear that which ego state helps us and at what condition. Moreover, there is nothing right or wrong because everything depends on the situation and circumstances, how we behave as such, right? Now, here Byrne propounded that in order to develop interpersonal communication, people need to recognize and develop strokes, you know, how people throw words, whether it is verbal or non-verbal communication towards which is related to the physical contact. Now, these strokes are very much in social action when we talk to people in the society or in a social gathering. And what Byrne says is a positive stroke and a negative stroke is found in our way of communication. In positive stroke, it's very much calm, soft, smile, okay, giving a compliment and just patting on the back, with a very genuine reaction. Whereas in negative stroke, here the person feels bad or uncomfortable because like an aggressive tone of speaking. So a quiet but stern look or a slap on the back of the head. We feel now it is very much, we cannot neither scold our students nor hit our students because This generation is not the generation that is accepted to be so. Now, as teachers, what are we supposed to do? And how are we supposed to do? Now, the strokes that Byrne has said, apart from ego states, sometimes negative stroke, we get angry because of the disturbances in the class. Maybe it depends upon the situation again. And after the break, after the lunch, how the students behave. So there is another surrounding basis, the circumstances. Because each and every student do not behave in the same way for all the classes. It depends. Even the strokes we give and receive are influenced by the ego states, as I have already stated. Someone in the parent ego state is likely to give nurturing strokes. If the other person is in the child ego state, this will be received well. And someone in the adult ego state will find it condescending, and might even take offense to being treated like a child. Sometimes students like in 8th or ninth or 10th standard, they feel they are very much adult and they speak, even students below 5, 6 also, they speak so much, as if a parent has taught the child to speak. It's not that, but the way they're brought up is like that. So each and every strokes are coming through the ego states, whether it is parental or adult or child. So as it is pointed out, parent ego states are always nurturing. So maybe the student may be in that state or the teacher. So this is always a relationship between a student and a teacher or a teacher to teacher as colleagues. So how the other person is expecting, we do not know. But we can also see the behavior of the other person and we can act accordingly. Right? So now there are transactional styles. As I was going through the ego states, so the way they are interacting. As you can see in this figure, child, adult, parent, in both the sides, it is mentioned in the circle. Now, if the child goes with a child, it's pretty okay. But child and adult, or adult and child and parent, there is a difference, right? So, even when you are talking to a child, if the child accepts you on a child ego state, then we have to be speaking accordingly. So, an adult, when we speak to a student of ninth or 10th or 11th or 12th, we need to speak to them as an adult, as a friend of theirs, because this is the stroke that they would expect us to speak. So here, as I will say, I'll just add it upon because based on my experience of 20 years almost, so being a counseling psychologist, so I too feel that I have to change my way of strokes. You know, obviously it is a positive stroke. I cannot go with a negative stroke at all. So the rapport which we have to build up with the student who are coming to take help and guidance from me. So the strokes have to be changed with the ego states. Sometimes I find that the student who comes is very much childish. So if I start behaving like an adult, the student may not take it. So I have to behave like a child. So the circumstances, the ego state, if you find the person who is right in front of you and you want to convey any information to the student or anyone, you have to check what type of ego state the other person needs. So if you go according to the ego state of the other person, it will be really fruitful, you will be successful. There will be no aggressive comments or there will be no conflict or mismatch or anything. So this ego states will be helping you all a lot in dealing with the communication and the relationship patterns of your lifetime as a professional. So as you can see the crisscross of child, 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 adult, child, parent. So there are different type of communication between ego states. It happens. So what type of mood you are or the other person has the mood, we need to see and we need to check accordingly. So this is the style of transaction we need to maintain. So the communication between two individuals can be between different ego states. That's what I wanted to say is a child cannot be going with a child ego state with another child. Sometimes a child is so much, what to say, matured that they start talking like an adult, and somehow the other child may not take it. So a child may talk like a parent. So that is the vice versa, which takes place between either adult also and even a parent. Sometimes when we see even in university students, we feel that a student who is already in the fourth year, who is going to sit for his placement or her placement, they still behave like a kid. So usually we say that, okay, you're still behaving like a kid. So this is what an adult figure comes out. So the other person may not accept it as such. So we have to change our ego state in order to make the other person understand where does do they fall across. So in this ego state, sometimes some students even they have come across to me saying that, am I okay? You know, is my behavior fine? Because many of my friends says that you're not matured, you need to learn so many things. So they come to a professional and they ask, what am I supposed to change, as per the other friends are concerned? This is where the child and adult do not match. So we can talk on this a lot as per the communication between different ego states are concerned. Now, impact of ego states are seen in different transactional types. See how we are coming across the topics one by one. So, ego states are having some impacts on the transactional types. We will see what type of transactional types are there. So, here the discussion, the paragraphs that follow provides an explanation for the various interaction patterns, how people will be behaving in different ego states. So, as per first type of transaction is complementary transaction. You just see the word, you will understand the from the word itself. So, transaction can be said to be as complementary because when the sender can predict the response of the receiver. Okay, so we see a lot of conflicts between parents and adolescents or teachers and students of senior secondary school. This is because adolescents communicate from the adult ego state, while parents or teachers talk to them from the parental ego state. See, that's what I was trying to, explain in the uh, interaction in previous slide. You know how communication takes place in different ego state. So here, when a teacher talks to a student, they can predict, if I say this, obviously the student is going to respond in this way. So if I say that tomorrow get all the homeworks done, okay ma'am or okay sir, we will do it. Whatever the parents say, they will be doing it. So complementary is also attached to this type of transaction because the transaction stimulus knows about the transaction response that we have studied in our earlier slides. Now, next is cross transaction. A cross transaction occurs when ego states of the two people who are engaging with each other do not match. Okay. So, suppose, there are parent teachers meetings sometimes, and the parents get angry when their own children get less marks, low marks. So, it is their dignity which, or the morality which hampers. So, sometimes we see the parent complaining that the teacher has deliberately given low marks to his or her student, right? So here the parent to take on the critical parent age ego state, you know, the critical, which we have studied, the nurturing, no, it is critical here. Now this would be in conflict with the adult ego state of the teacher. The teacher is trying to make the parent understand that this is what the situation is, this is what your child has written, and this is what the marks has been given to him. But the parent is not ready to accept anything, whatever the teacher says. Obviously, there will be conflict. So there is a cross transaction. And here the parent he is expecting the teacher to take on the child ego state and be apologetic, but the teacher would be adopting an adult ego state. So in this, what we can say? so that both the transactional transactions or the communication is better. So in this, we can say that if both of them comes in the adult ego state, it will be fine. If the parent also tries to understand where his or her child has gone wrong and tries to explain the child that next time you are not supposed to do this because this is the correct form of it. So cross transaction itself shows that there is a mismatch in the communication, right? So next is ulterior transaction. In this transaction, there is a discrepancy between the actual message and the intent behind it. The sender appears to be giving a message from his adult ego state, but the actual message is coming either from the child or parental ego state. So you can see this example. Like the teacher says, I am elder to you as a teacher. I should not have to lift tables. Children like you should help me. Okay. So that shows about the parental ego state. And the student from the child ego state, he says, I'm such a good student. I'm helping you even though you are not asking me to. So this is what the discrepancy. So the teacher is trying to say that it's okay, I will do it. But in a way, the communication is not given properly. Either the child also is not able to tell that, okay, fine, I will be able to do it too. So it does not come in a communication properly way. No, there are, so the transaction types are three, as you have seen: complementary, you know, cross, and ulterior. Now we come to the life position analysis. See, sometimes we come across so many situations and circumstances or incidents where we are fine to take the decisions, but sometimes we may not be. We take the help of others, and even we may not feel that the others are giving really correct decisions or not. So, in the transactional analysis approach, it is proposed that people assume certain life positions, which are often based on learning that has accrued to people since their childhood. Again, see, so many things are coming back from childhood because that's the basic, like we learn so many things. Life positions refer to basic beliefs because as childhood, whatever we have learned, it remains permanent and we believe also accordingly. And others used to justify one's behavior and decisions. That is what, when they become adult or parent, some of the child ego states functions. So even psychologists also they take the help of this in the therapy. Now Byrne again comes to the picture. He has given four types, of life position. So sometimes we feel that I am okay and you are okay. It is really feeling content, really feeling acceptable, and we get along very well with those type of people. I am okay and you are also okay. But there is again another life position where we feel that I am okay, you are not okay. Fine. So when you are unable to explain your situation to the others or the other person is unable to understand, so always you feel that I am always okay, but you are the person who is not understanding my situation. You are not at all okay in your field. So here, what type of people they are or what type of position they hold is they find faults at others. Now the third one is I am not okay and you are okay. They're always, they have low self-esteem. They lack self-belief and they don't have proper confidence with themselves because they always depend on others. So when they say that I am not okay, you are okay, obviously for any type of decisions or any type of actions, they will be depending on the other person to say what they are supposed to do. Now the fourth category is I am not okay and you are also not okay. Now what to do with this category? This is abandonment at young age. There are many children, those who are left alone. And usually there are families where we see there are sibling rivalry. Maybe a child is born, after 10 years another child is born. So the first child is not given much care and support because the other one is very small, and parents feel that the first one is okay to take care of him or her. So there, the sibling rivalry takes place, and they go alone. The loneliness starts. They feel that I'm not okay always, even as parents, they are also not okay. So this starts right from the childhood or the young stage, and they go with the depression. They withdraw themselves from the society, and it is most dangerous life position. And sometimes they feel worthlessness, feeling that what is the worth of having a life or living a life. So there are people, as there have been so many news, like attempting suicide may also be to the last stage where they are not taken care. But there are many students, those who approach us, those who have suicidal ideation. There are many students, those who self-harm themselves, and there are people, those who also attempt suicide, but they come back again. It doesn't mean that they will not do again, but there are people, those who feel that I'm not okay, even you are not okay. So, as far as life position analysis are concerned, there are four categories according to Byrne. So I repeat again, I'm okay, you're okay is always taken as a positive way. I'm okay and you're not okay. It is not fine, because we find faults of others. See, if a student is not getting good marks, he or she says that the teacher has not given me marks. I have written everything. So whatever my friend has written, he or she got it. But when I write the same thing, I did not get it. So it is only the teacher who did not get. So many students you will be getting like this. So I am not okay. It is always a dependency character, where you will be getting many students of such type also. And we have to be very, very much aware. I'm taking this platform to tell all the teachers that kindly check with this type of students when they say that I'm not okay and you are not okay. And those type of people or students will be very much aggressive. And yes, from the school era itself, we have seen many students, those who suffer from ADD or ADHD. That is what we say attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which continues, and they take medicines, even they are seen in university levels. They try to distract in the class because they suffer from all these things. So those who distract, it doesn't mean that they are purposefully doing it. They seek attention of the others, and this is what they may land up to it. So those type of people are very much to be identified, recognized, and the parents also has to be spoken that this is what your ward is, and to kindly see what is the problem with the child. As a teacher also you can do it. So sometimes this positions are situational. We cannot say that this type of positions with the student or with any individual will take place always. So there is a psychologist called White, and he divides life position into two categories: temporary and relatively permanent. So what he writes is, at work, someone might use many critical parent to child transactions, reflecting like, I am okay, you are not okay. Maybe the parental figure is like this. So the parent tries to make the child understand that you have to do this, you're supposed to do this, it is not right. So this is one of the life positions may happen. However, when this person visits a domineering friend, so he may be quite sheepish, compliant, and feel inferior, all of which reflects a different life position. So he may say that I'm not okay, you are okay. Right? So that is what the situation depends. It depends upon the situation, it depends upon the people, it depends upon the ego states. Again, how the life position may differ. So this position is viewed as a reaction to the environment also, and it demonstrates the nature of surface life position. So it's not at all permanent, we can say. They're temporary, they're reactive, and can be controlled by conscious decisions. So underneath these temporary positions are the character traits that are relatively permanent, do not change with situation. There are people, they're very much stubborn. They do not change with situation. That is what the ego states of the childhood functions. They're not easily changed by conscious decision or a person's willpower. In fact, they form the basis of one's personality. You can see there are so many students, even there are so many colleagues of yours. You can check yours, where do you stand, which life position you are. So that will be helping you all a lot. Now, this is an interesting topic, games analysis. So in this, we play many games, right? So we play games among ourselves also. We try to do something and we try to hide it again. So in this game analysis, what I will say is a game is a series of transactions or interactions between people in which the message is disguised. You know, sometimes someone is asked to do something and the other person says that, okay, fine, we'll see, we'll take some time. And there are some people who say that, let us see what the other person does. So there are some type of games played by among us, even among our students, you know. So in simple terms, we can say a person is playing a game when he or she is trying to accomplish an end that is contrary to what is being overtly expressed. So when there are two students, they are supposed to do some projects and all. Suppose one student is not interested to do a project with the other person, so he will start playing game. So here, game doesn't mean to play like game and sport. It is a communication game. That is what is told. So one of the common games that people play is termed as "Why don't you?" Yes, but all this terms will be yes used. In this game, one person shares a problem with another, seeking a solution. When the solution is offered, the first person offers an excuse to explain why the solution is not viable. So when you ask for something and you're given, so you're not accepting it. That shows that you didn't ask with some purpose. You just wanted to play a game with the other person. So this is what analytical way. Suppose other games that play people play include the poor me, just a sympathy game, a game that focuses on gaining sympathy and is often used as an excuse to avoid work. Or some people uproar, in which people often make loud arguments and make instigating statements to get the other person to respond with the hidden purpose of gaining attention and displacing their anger. Nothing else, even within the same department, like if I say English or science or maths or anything, there everyone are not equal. So there are different type of people. So one has to analyze what type of game a person is playing and how to come out of this dysfunctional circumstances. So we will be coming across all these things. If you observe carefully, you will see these games being played by people around you. That is what I wanted to say. So an understanding of these games will help you improve communication and understand personalities better. So when you see a person or your colleague or anyone or a parent or whoever the individual opposite to you is throwing some type of reactions, we cannot say response, it is a reaction. So you need to pause and you know analyze why is it so. So that is what game analysis is. There are different type of communication games which may be played among the colleagues or among the students or in between different ego states, as I was referring to. Now, for example, yeah, there's an example for you all. As the department coordinator, Varuna is required to ensure that all teachers submit question papers to her a week before the exams begin. That is seen in all the teaching curriculum, right? So we have to submit the question papers. But two of the teachers are not able to meet deadlines. She suggests to them to organize the work a bit better. So this is what the solution she has given as a coordinator. Now, Why don't you use a monthly and weekly planner so that you can organize your work to meet deadlines? This is what the coordinator says to help them out. So one of the teacher responds, yes, that is a good idea, but we are so overloaded with work that the time it takes to plan the work is actually wasting more time. If I had this much time, I would actually just do the work. So this is an excuse, as I was showing in the previous slide. It's an excuse. Well, an excuse is somewhat a positive response, where there are people, those who go with arguments. That's not a positive response at all, but it will be creating a conflict between you and the other person. So this is how we say that game analysis taking place. Now, I will talk about script analysis. Sometimes we write scripts for drama and all. So, sometimes we have to write scripts for our life. So, scripts usually what they say is it has variety of components, like including decisions, what type of decisions you have to take. Suppose your child is going to the school or and coming back, or the student is not responding well, or any student who is very weak in your subject, you know proper planning is needed. So besides all these things, live position, fantasy characters, games, payoffs, all this body language, everything comes in the script analysis. So this is what has been pointed out by James and Bauman. Now, what I would like to say here is some fundamental ideas to life scripts. A life script can be seen as an unconscious life plan. It is not that this is what you have to do, but it is better if you can plan accordingly. And as professions, we do plan what, but sometimes it goes beyond our plan also. So, script is reinforced by strokes received from parents. So if the parental ego state is good and they give reward for doing for any type of behavior, so we go with those type of plan and behavior because we have been rewarded, we have been reinforced. Scripts are outside one's awareness. Sometimes we prepare scripts without knowing what is the next step going to be, but we prepare it accordingly. Identifying and changing the life script is one of the key aims of therapy and the transaction analysis. Yes, we do, because whatever the session we take with our clients, with our students, and all, we go with a proper plan in order to see that there is a progress with all the sessions, with every session one after the other. So, in this, as teachers, also, you can prepare your own scripts, a life plan, especially. Self development shows that your development is very important when you go to the development of your own students. So, script analysis is very important in your teaching professional. Now, as I said, every teacher is a leader. When they enter the class, they are the leaders, and the students are the followers. So, when you talk about a leader, what comes to your mind? Yes, the person as a leader should be a charismatic personality and able to solve everything, whatever the queries are given to him or her, or that can make people follow him or her. So, there should be such type of person where they should be in a position to influence others. Like leadership is a trait. It is present in each and every one. Leadership as a trait is present in each and every one, I repeat, because it helps a person to sort out or deal with the problems or challenges using minimum resources available to him or her. Yeah. So, because when we deal with our students, when we deal with our subjects, when we deal with all other curriculums, we deal accordingly. So, we are leaders. So there are some leadership and basis of power. The power is also that also distracts anyone, depending on the type of positions and all. Now, teachers as leaders work more effectively when they enjoy specific power to execute. That is true. None of the teachers will be liking that every time they should be asked to do something, you do this, you do that. So they should be having certain power to do it, so that some execution power should be given to them. Then only the work can be effective rather than depending on anyone else to, you know, order or ask them to do. Since they're perceived as a knowledge authority, they command respect. Yes, as teachers, they don't demand respect, they command respect because their behavior, their personality will be commanding respect from their students, which gives them power to handle the situation within and outside the classroom. It's very much needed. Now, one person also he has quoted that leadership as a quality of an ordinary person with extraordinary determination. That is what I say. Leadership trait is found in everyone. So, maybe a person is ordinary, but this extraordinary determination, extraordinary quality is very much present in all. Now, leadership is the art of convincing people or a group of individuals to act in accordance to achieve common objectives. Always a leader has an objective to follow, and that is where they work on it. And they also ask their followers, the subordinates, to work accordingly to make everything effective. Now, for example, in the case of a school, a teacher is expected to convince all the stakeholders to achieve common objectives of education in general and schooling in particular. Therefore, a teacher must lead his or her institution in general and students in particular to achieve desired objectives. So, there are different types of power and how it has to be executed, how it has to be achieved. A teacher as a leader should know it in a better way. Now, if you talk about power, it is the influence of one person on another person or group to get the predefined outcome. I just want to do something. So, that power I should have in order to do it, whether the it is with another one person or a group of people. Now, in a classroom, a teacher's mere gesture and angry look can make a noisy class quiet. Yes, that happens. But nowadays, I have to think of. Now, in a school as an organized structure, power dynamics, also known as basis of power, can be categorized into positional power and personal power. But coercive power is also added again. Now, basis of power, one is positional power. So, positional power itself gives the meaning of the term. The positional power involves a hierarchy within the organization. What position I am? Am I a junior teacher or a senior teacher or head of the department or vice principal or principal? It becomes the position here. Now, people holding positional power may induce their employees to perform specific tasks by asking. So, for example, a school principal may assign a task to the vice principal. And further, the vice principal asks a teacher to perform the same task following the hierarchy. Maybe it is also known as legitimate power. So it's very easy to understand the hierarchy position gives rise to positional power. Now, in coercive power, it is also a positional power, no doubt, but in a more intense manner. The leaders may compel their followers to obey their orders using threats or punishment. So, this is not at all given any positive remarks. Like, for instance, if a teacher assigns some homework, a student does not complete it, the teacher may use his or her coercive power by failing the student in exams and compel the student to complete the homework. Usually, this is not accepted or expected either. Now, what is the weakness of it is leaders may face difficulties in winning the trust or building rapport with their followers. So, positional power, somehow it can be accepted, but coercive power is not at all to be accepted because no one will be doing it always with threats or punishment. There are people like there is an attendance issue in most of the colleges and universities. Now, if the student is not behaving well in the class, the teacher will not give the attendance. And later on, the student may have lack of attendance. And due to lack of attendance, he will not be able to sit for the exam. So rather than going with the critical parental ego state, I come back again there. So you can be an adult ego state and explain the child in a childish manner where it will be really helpful. Now, personal power in this, they don't go with rank or hierarchy or title or anything. Whereas this is known as relationship powers and thrives on the teacher's personal traits. These traits may be the ability to relate, communicate, empathize with fellow beings, and the ability to persuade. A student may not be having that talent to do it, but if persuasion or giving strength and confidence to the student by a teacher will be able to do it. That is what personal power we need not gather from outside, is within us itself. The way leaders talk to their followers, understand their circumstances, and relate them decides the strength of this power, personal power. Sometimes students go with the teacher's subject as their career. So some students here takes biotechnology because they are very pleased with the biology teacher. Some are very much, you know, related to the computer teacher. They wanted to take computer science. So here personal power is of some benefit and effective also, because students will be really remembering the teacher with respect and dignity. Now, referent power in this, when an individual becomes so famous that many people start following him or her, okay, like celebrities, politicians, highly reputed people, they have this type of power. Like, I have given an example taken from this material. So, here Gijubai Bandeka could be seen as a teacher holding referent power. He became so famous among his students that some students avoided holidays and skipped other teachers' classes to attend his lectures. So, personal power goes with the emotional and rapport building with the students. Referent power goes with their reputation. So, you can link with the terms added with the terms itself. Now, leadership styles. So we have gone through powers. Now we will be going with the leadership styles. Like, you can see, where do you stand? Which leadership style do you belong to? Right? So one by one, I'll be giving you the hint of all leadership styles. And there is an example also which will be helping you to understand it better. So one leadership style is directive leadership style. Here, the leader instructs, gives direction to the subordinates. So the term itself says giving direction or instruction to the subordinates or the fellow beings or the followers is a directive leadership style. So here, they set objectives for the people, they clarify the methodology to accomplish those objectives, formalizes rules, and set a timeline to complete the task. So everything a leader does. A directive leadership style also states what is expected from the followers or co-workers. This is what is expected from you, so you do it. So this is how the directive leadership style speaks. So this style is best suggested when the goal is ambiguous and unclear. The followers do not know what is to be done. So there the leader can come to the picture, the leader can, make the followers understand and give instructions or suggestions to do it. So this will work there. Like, suppose you are a music teacher and required to train a band of students to perform in an orchestra in a Republic Day parade. So the band of students are unaware of what type of music they are going to do, because it depends upon, few students will be playing some, few students will be playing another music. So the students with different musical instruments they have, right? So would have to act in a synchronized manner. Here, the direction has to be given by the music teacher where this style will be functioning well. Now, supportive leadership style is also an independent variable in the theory. So here they give emotional support. I have already underlined that. In supportive, you can give importance to emotional support of the of the leader towards the subordinates in completing any type of task, say it in a project or in a thesis or in you know any extracurricular activity, or there are places where they go with houses, you know different type of houses. So it depends upon whatever it is, the emotional support is very much needed in order to complete a task. Like here I have given an example, like you are a physical education teacher and working as a coach for your school's football team. So your team is participating in an inter-school football tournament. So here in this scenario, a prime task to win the tournament, obviously. So but during a match, one of your best players gets injured and has to leave the ground. What will you be doing at that time? So it's up to the injury again. If it is a serious injury, obviously the student cannot play. That emotional support is very much needed. Or if the injury is as such, where the student is willing to play, maybe they can be given some type of motivation to do so. So it depends upon the situation, circumstances again to go through it. Now, consulting leadership style is, I have given another underline here, you can see. It is democratic in nature, but and includes subordinates in the decision making. It allows people to express their thoughts and suggest what they think is the best solution to a given problem. The final decision making authority lies with the leaders. So, suppose there is a department, maybe maths or English, whatever. So, when there is a meeting going on, so the subordinates are also included in the decision making. So it assumes that involving people will provide an enhanced and broader perspective to make better decisions. So here, whatever the decision everyone can give, but the final decision has to be taken by the leader. Now, for example, I have given as a principal in a school, you got a proposal from the student to conduct elections. So it is high time to conduct election in school. But suppose it's an example, and thought of discussing this matter with your fellow teachers, where you find that few teachers are not in favor and fewer, and they feel that okay, fine, it can be done. Now, what you are supposed to do, moreover, discussing the issue would develop a sense of participation. That is okay. But democratic ambience and importance among your fellow teachers, although the final decision will lie with you. So this is a very critical thing. You have to think in all types of, factors, why, what is to be done and all. Obviously, you can consult with your teachers, the teacher group as a principal, but you have to see the circumstances and take a decision by yourself. But here, it's not that you are the sole authority to take the decisions. Well, delegating leadership style. Now, delegate leaders do not interfere with the decisions taken by the subordinates or the panel. Instead, they would agree with the majority. Suppose there is some disturbances, I guess. Okay, fine. So, besides the previous one, delegate leadership style here, there will suppose 20 people in a department, and they go with a majority and make suggestions if needed. So the majority wins. Sometimes we say, the leaders go with the majority, and this is a different leadership style. It depends again with the situation, circumstances, I say. So, however, in this leadership style, it is suggested when followers or subordinates willingly take full responsibilities for the work and proceed with common consent. So there is no conflict as such among anyone. The subordinates are ready to do it, they are competent enough to do it, and they are motivated by themselves with proper sincerity. then the leaders doesn't have to worry at all. Only on that situation, this leadership style will work with the majority. So the leader cannot just take it by themselves. Now, here, suppose you are an elected chairperson of a board of teachers tasked to design a secondary education curriculum. So, your subordinates are experts in their respective teaching fields with years of experience. They're already competent enough and motivated to complete the task. So, therefore, your responsibility is to accept, recognize, and accede to the decision taken by your co workers because they are already an expert and they belong to the panel members also. So sometimes, we have different type of settings. Sometimes I am the HOD, or maybe after a year so or 2 years, another HOD will be there. So the other person, I already have an experience of it, and I can help on any situation where it is demanded for. So here the subordinates have to be very much expertised. Then only the majority can be taken, or else no. Now, autocratic leadership style, this is very much known to everyone because here autocratic, they say it is if the task is complex and quite critical for the organization and has to be completed in a limited time, there the autocratic leadership style functions. So in this, the leaders make decisions, and these leaders order their subordinates and expect the task to be completed without any delay. So the deadline is given by the leader. So it focuses on how the task is being completed without being worried about the relationship between leaders and subordinates. I want this task to be done. That's it. So this is what the autocratic leaders say. Now, these leaders know what they want and how to accomplish it without any resentment. And this style appears to worry less about their subordinates because they know that the subordinates have to do it. Do not have or are less confident about subordinates and primarily focus on the task. So the subordinates may come with an excuse or they may not fulfill the deadlines, but in this leadership style, the leader says that you have to do it. So it is not with the subordinates or the followers or the fellow beings. It is with the task. The leader does not see anything besides the task, the goal. And this leadership style may be characterized by tight discipline, robust controls, low skills, leader dependency. Obviously, there will be leader dependency because whatever the leaders say, they have to do it abruptly. And being more task oriented. So here another same thing, like when the students from NCC or NSS, whatever, they are going for a parade, so they have to be very much disciplined and obey the leader as they are said. So in order to bring effective and systematic parade, they have to be strict and disciplined, or else things are not going to work out for them. So this is where the task related leadership is very much seen. Now, democratic leadership style. Yes, India is a democratic country. It is also known as participative leadership style. Everyone can participate. The leaders in this style invite inputs and ideas from their subordinates or group members and allow them to participate in the decision making process. So the leader does not take the decision by him or her. They ask the subordinates, they take their guidance, you know, and as a result, the participants' quality of contribution and dedication are much higher under this leadership because each and every one also has, that play. I mean, the game that yes, I can also do it. I am also given that importance. That is what the importance related in this leadership style is. Like, for example, you and your fellow beings, fellow teachers are tasked to design a syllabus for a science subject in 11th standard. You are appointed as a chairperson of the committee where you would have to go with the decision made by the members of the committee. You may suggest the committee include or exclude any topic, but you cannot impose your decision on the committee members. So, a democratic leader, they cannot impose anything on their subordinates. subordinates or the followers. So this leadership style recognizes leaders as coaches and expects them to include inputs from the fellow members or subordinates before making any decision. So, if the department is a democratic department, like where the leader is very much democratic, the leader never takes any decision rather than ask the fellow beings or the followers or subordinates for the decision so that the decision can be taken altogether. Now, authoritative leadership style, it sometimes it goes with the autocratic leadership, people say, but no, it is not. In this authoritative leadership, it is, it's seen as a mentor leading a mentee. Okay. So, like a mentor, the authoritative leaders are the torch bearers. Okay. The followers, the subordinates will be doing the work as such. So, anywhere anything is there, they will be there to help. So, because when you compare this with autocratic, in autocratic, they will say, follow me or do as it has been ordered. This is what the autocratic thinks. Whereas in authoritative, no, it is nothing like this. The followers also see the leader as an authority and tend to follow them because it is a understanding among each other. They try to connect with their followers, empathize with subordinates, and project themselves as ordinary people with extraordinary qualities. So it is very much different from autocratic. There may be confusion like, what is the difference between autocratic and authoritative? So this is what the thing is. Like in this type of leadership, I have given an example. You are a dance teacher and preparing your stage students for a stage dance performance. So, however, a dance move is too complex for your students to perform. Now, what would you do? Of course, you would lead your students by performing it and ask them to observe and reproduce it. By doing this, students will be able to connect themselves rather than you doing for themselves. The leader will not do anything for the followers, whereas the leader will help the followers to do their jobs perfectly. Now, laissez-faire leadership style is has come up after all these things, after all these styles and all. In this, it allows more freedom to the subordinates than delegating leadership style. Like under this, the goals or objectives are pre-decided. The leader doesn't have to be deciding about it. So the leader works with subordinates shoulder to shoulder, whereas in this leadership style, the leader's role is very much passive. Sometimes we say the president is the rubber stamp. So the president goes along with whatever it is being decided. So it is just laissez-faire leadership style. And in this, uh, there is it's not involved with goal setting, adopting methods because it's already pre-decided. So where the leaders has to follow over this. And in this type of leadership style, it seems appropriate where the subordinates are skilled and motivated enough to complete the task on their own responsibility again because leaders do not offer guidance or offer minimal directions to the team members. So sometimes if you see that a project is given to a group of students, so there you acting as a leader is very much on laissez-faire leadership style because you do not give every instruction to the students, whereas you wanted the students' creativity to come up over here, right? So here, team members, unclear roles, power distribution may lead to project failure, missed deadlines, and chaotic communication. You have to be very careful in dealing with this type of leadership style. So here, where teachers use a project method as a teaching strategy to teach their students, students receive projects, set the objectives, decide methodology. See, students are doing everything. So the teacher has to just keep an eye of what the students have been doing. So the teacher doesn't have to say anything in the project developing and all. And this is a transformational leadership style. So in this, we focus on developing a visionary motive, selling the motive for convincing or influencing people, as we say. Uh, Here, you may see that transformational leadership style has some similarities with charismatic leadership style, but no, there is always a difference, or else why two terms have come up. So, in this leadership style, we wish to change the organization, and 11, we wish to see something, taking place in a proper way as a whole. But in charismatic leadership style, the leader goes with the popularity of it, not with the whole organization, just the leader himself or herself. Now, for example, if you are a newly appointed class teacher of class 12, and when you enter the class for the first time, you were not welcome. Sometimes it happens. So you confronted some students who were not ready to accept you as their new class teacher. So they were also not interested in studies and were not responding properly. So, however, you showed them the right way by behaving and maintaining the dignity of the class. So, you presented yourself as a role model and it changed their mind. After some time, students started admiring you and focused on the studies. So, this is how a teacher will be doing for the whole class. It is not for the teaching themselves or teacher coming up, teaching and going off. Whereas in transformational leadership style, they will be going with transforming the whole group so that there comes some effective results over there. So in this, the leaders build trust and rapport. That is very much needed as we do in our profession also. For any type of counseling, a trust and rapport is very much needed for the progress of any student. So in transformational leaders, there is a combination of idealist influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, and individualist consideration. All these four act together to make a leader as a transformational leader. Okay, these are all leadership styles which we have come across. Like to give an effectiveness of leadership, leadership is the power to make significant changes in an organization or within the individual. So you may be having a group of students in your class of 15 or 20 or 25 or 30. There are students occupying 40, 50, 60 in some classes, in some universities, in some colleges. So, what is the effectiveness of being a leader? Now, as a leader, one will be having vibrant leadership abilities. They may be acting as a role model for their followers. They may learn something as some of the behaviors or activities may be so much approaching for the students that they may start doing it because it shows some effective results. The prime focus of any leadership is to get the work done. That is what has to be done. So, as a teacher, if you consider you are a leader, so you have to see that the work is done. If you are giving a homework, the whole class has to do it. So, for this, which type of leadership style would you choose? Right? So, all the leadership styles are very effective. Whatever we have come across, every leadership style is effective. But if it is only effective when you make the work done. So our focus is the goal, completing the task. Sometimes we go with the students or our followers or our subordinates. Sometimes we do it by ourselves, by ordering or asking and doing the things done. So, moreover, our goal is making the things done. That's it. Now, leaders need to achieve complex tasks, sometimes next to impossible tasks. But selecting the right leadership style would make it easier, as I was saying. So, leadership styles all are important. I will not say that this is important and that is not. Everything depends on the situation and circumstances of a person to choose which leadership style will be suiting me at these circumstances. So, it is rightly said that selecting the right leadership style would make it easier for you to coordinate, to communicate, to build up a very effective relationship with whomever you wanted to grow with. Sometimes followers are not ready to implement the decision. Sometimes working conditions are problematic, and sometimes the system might not support it. Facing all these circumstances, a leader must utilize minimum resources to provide maximum output. So, as I was saying, yes, leadership is needed. Without leadership, we cannot exist in our profession because today one batch of student goes, there comes another batch of students where your leadership is very much needed or required for them. But as a leader, why I say the leadership style has to be changed, because every generation there will be difference. If you consider 5 years before the students and you consider the students now, there is a much difference among the students of 5 years before and the present generation. So it depending on the circumstances, depending on the activities to be played by you, you have to choose the effective leadership style as it is rightly pointed out. So this is what the unit 3 says. We will be going for it tomorrow because I don't want to dump all the things. I can understand that all are here with after the work done, after all the pressure and fulfilling your works and desires and all, you are here. So we will be going with this tomorrow, and I'm open to the queries or any type of discussion which can take place for a few minutes. Yes. Shall we go with it, or we can just sum up with some of the queries?
Yes, you can sum up in between. If they want to ask, they will ask. No
Right,
issue.
right. Okay, so self development of the teachers. I'll stop sharing this. Okay. So it is very much important for a teaching profession and teaching level that we need to develop our own self as well as develop the self or develop the students level self also. Here, first I would like to say is self identity is very, very important. Like as my own self, who am I? Usually that any profession, whatever you come across, you say you have to give this answer, introduce yourself. This is the first question which may be asked. How much do I know about myself? How am I going to tackle my own problems and activities? Where do I stand now? What are the different you know practices which I have to develop in order to build up myself? So the self is very much was very much included, where we have gone for an interpersonal processes. So when we talk about our own self, we need to talk about the other person whom we are communicating with. So that was the interpersonal processes, which has to take place with the help of transactional analysis. So in the transactional analysis, again, we come through ego states. In ego states, we have three types of ego states. One is child, another parent, another adult. In child, we have two types of ego states again, and even as a parent, but there is no ego states or subtypes in adult ego states. We feel that as an adult, we need to understand the present situation more rather than going to the past or future or deciding or being critical. So, in order to be a perfect teacher, we can acquire any type of ego states depending on the situation, depending on the circumstances. Sometimes, when I said that, okay, fine, this the child is unable to understand, as a result the child is getting very low marks. So there, rather than the adult ego state, we can take the help of parental ego state of nurturing the child and think that yes, the child has to understand and we need to know where the child has been fault with. So after the ego states you have seen, we can, two people can act as child to child or child to adult or child to parent. So it is a vice versa connection of communication among each other. Sometimes when we colleagues are dealing with each other and we are in a very reflexing mood, so sometimes we sing songs just to, relax ourselves. So we go with a child state and we think that, okay, fine, we feel so much of relaxed now. So between colleagues also, you can be child to child, you can be child to adult, but you can be also child to parent. But here, everything starts with the childhood experiences. That is what Eric Byrne has already stated. When a child, usually what we see is, we feel that a child is only a child, but no, a child can grasp many things even they are very, very young or just an infant of, a child of 2 years. So people, child can understand many things. That is what we understand. The child has grasped the ideas. There may be some talks of adult among or the parents, but the child understands what is going on among them. So, as a counseling psychologist, sometimes I have faced many students where people feel that uh, they were not treated well as a student or they were not treated well as a child at home. So there comes, I will come back with the life position. That is where they feel they are okay and they are not okay. Others are also not okay. Well, before that, basis of power was discussed. In the power, positional, coercive, and personal power were also discussed. Especially the positional and personal power were mostly given more importance rather than the coercive ones. The life position always differs. Sometimes we are fine, sometimes we are not fine. Sometimes we are in stress level, sometimes we are in anxiety. So it is always okay to have any type of life position in our lifestyle. So there are four, as I have already discussed. One is I am okay, you are also okay. That gives a very effective lifestyle for us. Sometimes we say that I am okay, but you are not okay. Always finding faults in others. Sometimes we feel that I am not okay, but you are okay, where we feel that I'm depending on the other. And sometimes we feel I'm not okay, neither you are okay. So it gives a different type of, voice or the tone that we speak of. So you will be also finding some of the students in your classroom where they may be having different type of life position and they may also react accordingly. Yes, I also have put it down about a type of disorder which usually students in their childhood or in school they are seen, and it is told as described as ADD or ADHD. So sometimes there may be sibling rivalry due to the, no attention paid by the parents towards them at home, and they try to drag attention in the classroom by either distracting themselves or distracting others. So if you find a student with ADD, I mean they are distracting by themselves, looking here and there, or looking towards the window or looking to some person for a long time. So they're not paying attention in the class, whereas they suffer from some type of disorders. I mean, some type of, disturbances, I can say, that is attention deficit disorder. Or sometimes you can see people throwing, uh, you know, papers to each other or writing something or scribbling in the classroom while the teacher is going on teaching in the class. And they are the people, those who are distracting not only to themselves but also to other students as well as the teachers. So such students have to be taken care, because when they come up to the colleges or universities, they feel much difficulties in order to adjust. So it is very common for students to have, because in this profession, I don't blame anyone. It's only the situation and circumstances which is to be blamed. As I said already, a student having a sibling 7 to 8 years younger to him, so he's not getting connected with his or her brother or sister. So they become lonely to themselves. And when he sees that his parents are giving more importance to the sibling, then they come to know that I am all lonely. Then the student may try to do some mischiefs outside. So there we have to figure out what is the problem over there and what is to be done. So, as teachers, you may be facing many problems seen among the students, but it is our right opportunity to see, so, where we can develop ourselves along with developing our own students. So there has been leaders, as I said. Yes, we all are leaders by ourselves, and we need to take any type of leadership style depending on the situation and circumstances and all. So we, as such, have to see that things has to be perfect whatever the situation or positions we are in. Then we come across the effectiveness of leadership, and here we all end today. This is what a small summary of what we have come across. And I guess everyone will be looking at your behavior and activities from tomorrow, or maybe to today itself. Where do you stand? Which ego state do you stand, and which leadership style do you stand, or do you, you know function? Okay, and which life position you come across is a major topics, I feel. It's very important for a teacher and a profession, and in a noble profession, to take care. And please do take care of yourself, because you people are the ones who have been bringing so many people of professionals like us also, and we respect all our teachers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much
Thank you so
for an
much.
exhaustive presentation today. So it was excellent. So I think all the students must have enjoyed a lot. So tomorrow we are meeting again with a new topic. I think the second block.
Yes.
So till such time we take leave of all the learners, and tomorrow we are again back at the same time.
Thank you
So
so much.
thank you, madam. Thank you very much.